Good evening, and welcome to Somnoria Tales. Tonight we will leave behind the noise of the day and travel to a place few people have ever seen. A place hidden beyond the mountains, beyond the clouds. A place where stories drift through the night like silver moonlight. A place known only as the Floating Library of Somnoria. Before we begin, allow yourself to settle comfortably. Take a slow, gentle breath in and slowly breathe out. Feel your shoulders soften. Allow your jaw to relax. Let your thoughts drift away like clouds moving peacefully across a moonlit sky. There is nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. Only this moment, only this story. And now, our journey begins. On a cool autumn evening, a lone traveler walked along a narrow mountain path. The path curved gently around the side of a great mountain. Above him, the night sky stretched endlessly. Thousands of stars sparkled like tiny lanterns suspended in darkness. The moon hung low over the horizon, large, bright, beautiful. Its silver light covered the mountains, forests, and valleys below. Everything seemed peaceful, quiet, still. The traveler pulled his cloak a little tighter around his shoulders. The mountain air was cool and fresh. Each breath carried the scent of pine trees and distant rain. He had been walking for many days, perhaps even weeks. He had crossed rivers, ancient forests, rolling hills, and forgotten roads. Yet he continued forward, step after step, night after night, because he was searching for something. Not treasure, not adventure, not fame. He was searching for peace, a place where the mind could finally become quiet, a place where the heart could rest, a place untouched by worry. For many years he had heard whispers of such a place, stories shared beside campfires, old legends passed from traveler to traveler. Most people believed those stories were only myths, but the traveler was not so certain. Deep within his heart, he felt those stories were true, and so he kept searching. The mountain path continued upward. Its stones glowed softly beneath the moonlight. Around him, tall pine trees stood silently like ancient guardians. Their branches swayed gently in the evening breeze. Far away, an owl called softly from somewhere within the forest. The sound echoed across the mountains, then faded into silence. The traveler smiled. There was something comforting about the quietness of the night. No crowds, no noise, only the peaceful rhythm of nature. For a long time he walked without speaking, without thinking, simply listening. Listening to the wind, listening to his footsteps, listening to the calm stillness that surrounded him. As the hours passed, the path grew steeper. Small patches of mist began appearing between the trees. The moonlight transformed the mist into silver ribbons floating through the forest. The traveler paused for a moment. He looked toward the valley below. The view was breathtaking. Countless hills stretched toward the horizon. Tiny rivers reflected the moonlight. Clouds drifted lazily through distant valleys. The entire world seemed asleep. And for the first time in many days, the traveler felt completely at peace. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and listened. Only silence, beautiful silence. After a few moments, he continued walking. The path curved around another rocky cliff, and that was when he saw it. A light, far away. At first, it appeared no larger than a candle flame, a tiny golden glow shining through the darkness. The traveler stopped, curious. There were no villages in these mountains, no homes, no roads. Yet the light remained, warm, golden, steady. He watched it carefully. Perhaps it belonged to another traveler. Perhaps it was a mountain cabin. Or perhaps something else entirely. The traveler began walking toward it, slowly, carefully. The light seemed distant, yet with each step it grew brighter, warmer, more inviting. Soon the mist around him began glowing faintly gold. The trees reflected the light. Even the rocks along the path shimmered softly. The traveler could not explain it, but something about the light felt familiar, as though he had been searching for it his entire life. The deeper he traveled into the mountains, the quieter the world became. The wind faded. The forest grew still. Even the sounds of insects disappeared. It felt as though the mountain itself was holding its breath, waiting, watching. The traveler continued onward, his footsteps slow and steady. The golden glow now filled the air around him. The mist parted gently before him, and then he reached the end of the path. The forest opened into a wide clearing. The traveler stepped forward and gasped softly. Before him stood something impossible, something magnificent. A staircase, not made of stone, not made of wood, but formed entirely from golden light. Each step shimmered gently, like sunlight reflected upon calm water. The staircase rose upward into the clouds.
Higher and higher, until it disappeared among the stars. The traveler stood motionless, his heart filled with wonder. He had never seen anything like it. The staircase seemed alive, radiating warmth, comfort, peace. For a long moment, he simply stared. The moon shone overhead, the stars sparkled brightly, and the golden staircase stretched endlessly toward the heavens. Then a gentle breeze passed through the clearing, soft, warm, welcoming, almost as though the staircase itself was inviting him forward. The traveler stepped closer. His hand reached toward the nearest step. The golden surface glowed softly beneath his fingers. It felt warm, real, solid. A smile appeared upon his face. Perhaps this was what he had been searching for. Perhaps the old stories were true after all. The traveler looked once more toward the sleeping world below. The forests, the rivers, the mountains, all resting peacefully beneath the moonlight. Then he turned back toward the staircase, toward the clouds, toward the unknown. And he placed one foot upon the first golden step. As he did, the staircase shimmered gently. The stars above seemed brighter, and somewhere far beyond the clouds, something ancient and wonderful awakened. The traveler stood quietly upon the first golden step. For a moment, nothing happened. The night remained calm. The stars continued shining above. The clouds drifted slowly across the sky. Yet something felt different, something subtle, something peaceful. He took another step, then another, and another. The staircase stretched upward before him like a glowing river of light. Each step felt warm beneath his feet, not hot, not cold, simply comforting, as though the staircase itself knew exactly how to welcome weary travelers. The traveler climbed slowly. There was no need to hurry, no destination pulling him forward, only curiosity and a growing sense of wonder. With every step, the world below became smaller. The forest transformed into dark green patches. The rivers became silver ribbons. The mountains softened into gentle shapes beneath the moonlight. Soon he found himself surrounded by clouds, soft clouds, silent clouds. They drifted around the staircase like peaceful waves upon an invisible ocean. The traveler reached out his hand. His fingers brushed the edge of a cloud. It felt cool and light, almost like touching silk. The moonlight shone through the mist, creating silver patterns that danced gently through the air. Everything seemed dreamlike, beautiful, calm. The higher he climbed, the quieter his thoughts became. Memories drifted away. Worries faded. Questions disappeared. His mind felt lighter with every step, as though the staircase was slowly lifting not only his body, but also the burdens he had carried for so many years. Above him, countless stars filled the sky. He had never seen so many. Each star seemed brighter than any he remembered. Some glowed softly blue, others shimmered silver. A few sparkled with warm golden light. Together, they created a vast ocean of light, stretching endlessly into the darkness. The traveler paused for a moment. He leaned gently against the glowing railing beside the staircase. The view took his breath away. Below him rested an endless sea of clouds. Moonlight flowed across their surface like liquid silver. The clouds moved slowly and gracefully, almost as though they were breathing. The entire sky felt alive, not in a frightening way, but in a peaceful way, a comforting way, like an old friend quietly watching over the night. After a few moments, the traveler continued climbing. The staircase curved gently upward. Time seemed to lose meaning. Minutes passed, perhaps hours, yet he never felt tired, never felt hungry, never felt cold, only peaceful, only calm. As he climbed, he began noticing small lanterns floating through the sky. Tiny, golden lanterns, each one no larger than an apple. They drifted lazily among the clouds. Their warm glow illuminated the mist around them. The traveler watched one float past. It moved slowly, gracefully, almost like a firefly. For a brief moment, the lantern paused beside him. Its light flickered softly. Then it continued its journey into the night. Soon he noticed more, dozens, then hundreds, floating peacefully throughout the sky. Together they created a magical river of golden light. The traveler smiled. The sight filled him with a sense of happiness he could not explain. He continued climbing. Far ahead, something began appearing through the clouds. At first, it was only a faint glow, a warm golden light, similar to the one he had seen from the mountain path below, but much larger, much brighter. As he climbed higher, the glow slowly expanded. Shapes began forming within the mist. Towers, windows, roofs, balconies. The traveler's heart filled with excitement, not the loud excitement of adventure, but the quiet excitement of discovery, the kind that makes the world feel full of possibilities. Step by step, the shapes became clearer. The clouds slowly parted, and then he saw it, the floating library of Somnoria, suspended above an endless sea of clouds, bathed in moonlight, surrounded by floating lanterns. It was far larger than he had imagined. Several magnificent towers rose toward the stars. Their windows glowed with warm, golden light. Elegant bridges connected different sections of the library. Tall archways shimmered beneath the moonlight. Silver banners drifted gently in the breeze. The entire structure appeared timeless, ancient, yet perfectly preserved, as though it had existed since the beginning of dreams themselves. The traveler stopped, speechless. For many years he had listened to stories about hidden places, lost kingdoms, secret gardens, forgotten cities, yet none of them compared to what stood before him now. The floating library seemed impossible, and yet it was real, more real than anything he had ever seen. The golden staircase finally reached a broad platform made of smooth white stone. The traveler stepped onto it. Behind him, the staircase continued glowing softly. Ahead stood the grand entrance of the library, massive doors made of polished silver and dark wood. Carved into the doors were countless stars, moons, clouds, and books, beautiful symbols woven together into intricate patterns. The traveler slowly approached. The closer he came, the more peaceful he felt. A gentle warmth filled the air. The scent of old books drifted through the night, mixed with lavender and something else, something familiar, like memories from childhood, like comfort, like home. He paused before the enormous doors. For a long moment, he simply stood there, listening. The library seemed silent, yet not empty. It felt alive, filled with stories patiently waiting to be discovered. The moon shone brightly overhead. Clouds drifted peacefully below. The floating lanterns continued their endless dance among the stars. Everything felt perfect, still, quiet, and deeply comforting. Then, without warning, the great doors began to move, slowly, gently, silently. Golden light spilled outward into the night, warm and welcoming. The traveler watched as the entrance opened wider, revealing endless shelves beyond. Thousands of books, Thousands of stories, thousands of memories, waiting. The traveler took a slow breath and stepped forward into the floating library of Somnoria. And somewhere deep within the endless halls, a mysterious librarian was already waiting for him. The traveler stepped through the grand entrance. Behind him, the massive doors closed softly. Not with a loud sound, not with a heavy echo, only a gentle whisper, as though the library itself wished to preserve the quietness of the night. For a moment, he simply stood still, looking, listening, breathing. The air inside felt different, warm, peaceful, timeless. The scent of old books drifted through the vast halls, mixed with lavender and cedarwood. It was a comforting scent, a familiar scent, the kind that instantly made the heart feel at home. Above him stretched a magnificent ceiling painted like the night sky. Thousands of tiny golden lights shimmered overhead like distant stars. They moved slowly, gently, as though the sky itself were breathing. The traveler gazed upward in wonder. He had never seen anything so beautiful. Around him stood endless bookshelves, tall shelves, some reaching 3 or 4 stories high. Others curved gracefully along the walls. Every shelf was filled with books, thousands upon thousands of books. Their covers came in every color imaginable: deep blue, silver, emerald green, golden amber, rich crimson. Each one seemed unique. Each one seemed important. The traveler slowly walked forward. His footsteps barely made a sound upon the polished floor. Everything felt peaceful. Nothing felt rushed. Time itself seemed to move differently inside the library. As he wandered through the first great hall, he noticed floating lanterns drifting gently between the shelves. Their golden light illuminated the books without casting harsh shadows. The atmosphere felt soft, dreamlike, comforting, like stepping into a beautiful memory. Then he noticed something unusual. The books were not arranged by subject, or author, or date. Instead, small signs hung above different sections. One sign read, "Quiet Oceans." Another read, "Moonlit Forests." Another, "Gentle Journeys." And another, "Peaceful Evenings." The traveler smiled. Even the names felt relaxing. He continued walking, passing rows of books filled with calm stories and forgotten memories. Some books glowed softly, others shimmered faintly beneath the lantern light. It was impossible not to feel curious, impossible not to wonder what stories rested inside them. As he reached the center of the hall, he noticed a circular reading room.
Soft chairs surrounded a glowing fireplace. The flames burned quietly, producing no smoke, only warmth. Several open books rested upon wooden tables, yet no one seemed to be reading them. The room was completely empty, and yet it somehow felt occupied, not by people, but by stories, thousands of stories, patiently waiting. The traveler sat briefly in one of the chairs. The cushion was soft, comfortable. Outside a nearby window, clouds drifted slowly beneath the library. The sight was mesmerizing. He could have sat there for hours, perhaps days, simply watching the clouds move beneath the moonlit sky. Yet something encouraged him onward, a gentle feeling, a quiet invitation, as though the library wished to show him more. So he stood once again and continued deeper into the building. The hallways seemed endless. Each corridor revealed something new. One hallway contained books whose pages glowed softly blue. Another contained books bound in silver leather. One section held enormous books taller than the traveler himself. Another contained tiny books no larger than a leaf. The traveler found himself smiling more and more. Every corner held wonder. Every room felt magical. Yet the magic was never overwhelming, never frightening, only peaceful, only gentle. As he turned another corner, he discovered a long balcony overlooking the clouds. He stepped outside. The night air greeted him softly, cool and refreshing. Above him, the moon hung brilliantly in the sky. Its silver light illuminated everything: the towers, the clouds, the floating lanterns, even the distant horizon. The traveler rested his hands upon the balcony railing and looked out across the endless sea of clouds. The view seemed infinite. Clouds stretched in every direction, like a peaceful ocean made of moonlight. Far away, he noticed small floating islands drifting slowly through the sky. Each island carried trees, gardens, and tiny glowing lanterns. The sight felt almost unreal, yet somehow completely natural, as though this hidden world had always existed beyond ordinary sight. The traveler closed his eyes and listened. There was no noise, no chaos, only the distant whisper of wind moving gently among the clouds. Only stillness, only peace. When he opened his eyes again, he noticed a warm golden glow nearby. Turning slowly, he saw someone standing at the far end of the balcony. An elderly man, tall, graceful, dressed in flowing silver robes. His long white hair reflected the moonlight. In one hand, he carried a lantern. Its glow was soft and golden. The traveler immediately recognized him. This could only be the librarian, the guardian of Somnoria, the keeper of its countless stories. The old man smiled warmly, not a large smile, not an excited smile, just a calm and welcoming one. The kind of smile that instantly made a person feel safe. For several moments, neither of them spoke. They simply stood together beneath the moonlit sky, watching the clouds drift peacefully below. Finally, the librarian spoke. His voice was gentle, soft, almost musical. "Welcome, traveler." The traveler nodded respectfully. "Thank you." The librarian looked toward the horizon. "You have traveled far." "I have." "And you are searching for something." The traveler smiled softly. "Peace." The librarian nodded, as most travelers are. A comfortable silence followed. Neither felt the need to fill it with words. The clouds continued drifting. The lanterns floated quietly through the night. The moon shone above them. Then the librarian turned toward the traveler. "There is something I would like to show you." The traveler felt curiosity awaken within him. "What is it?" The librarian's eyes twinkled gently. "A book." The traveler laughed quietly. "A book?" The librarian smiled. "Not just any book." He raised the lantern slightly. Its golden light shimmered across the balcony. "One of the oldest books in all of Somnoria." The traveler felt a sense of anticipation. The librarian motioned toward a distant doorway. Beyond it lay another section of the library, hidden, quiet, waiting. Together they began walking through the moonlit halls, toward a story unlike any the traveler had ever known. And somewhere ahead, resting upon a shelf of silver wood, waited the Book of Quiet Oceans. The traveler followed the librarian through a quiet corridor illuminated by floating lanterns. Their golden light drifted gently through the air, soft, warm, peaceful. Neither of them hurried. There was no need. The library seemed to encourage slow steps and quiet thoughts. The corridor curved gracefully between towering shelves. Thousands of books rested there, silent and patient, each carrying a story, a memory, a dream. Eventually, they arrived at a circular chamber unlike any room the traveler had seen before. The ceiling arched high overhead, painted with silver stars. The walls were lined with shelves crafted from pale wood that seemed to glow softly beneath the lantern light. In the very center stood a single pedestal. Upon it rested a beautiful blue book. Its cover shimmered gently, like moonlight dancing upon calm water. The traveler immediately felt drawn toward it. The librarian smiled. "This," he said softly, "is the Book of Quiet Oceans." The traveler stepped closer. The cover was smooth and cool beneath his fingertips. Tiny silver waves moved across its surface, almost as though the ocean itself lived within the pages. "May I open it?" he asked. The librarian nodded. "Of course." The traveler carefully lifted the cover. The moment the first page opened, the library disappeared. A cool ocean breeze brushed against his face. He blinked and found himself standing upon a quiet beach beneath a moonlit sky. The sea stretched endlessly before him. Silver moonlight reflected across gentle waves. The water moved slowly, peacefully. Each wave rolled softly toward the shore before slipping away once more. The sand beneath his feet felt warm and smooth, comfortable. Far out across the water stood a solitary lighthouse. Its golden light rotated slowly through the darkness. The traveler took a deep breath. The air smelled of salt, freshness, and distant rain. Everything felt calm, perfectly calm. There were no crowds, no noise, no worries. Only the ocean, the moon, and the peaceful rhythm of the waves. The traveler began walking slowly along the shoreline. His footsteps left temporary marks upon the wet sand. Each mark quickly faded as the tide gently reached forward. The sea seemed to whisper softly, not words, only soothing sounds, sounds that encouraged relaxation, sounds that invited stillness. The traveler continued walking, listening, breathing, relaxing. The moonlight transformed the ocean into a sea of liquid silver. Every wave sparkled, every ripple glowed. Above him, thousands of stars stretched across the sky, more stars than he had ever seen before. They shimmered peacefully in the darkness, like distant lanterns guiding travelers home. After some time, he noticed a small wooden bench resting near the water's edge. The bench faced the sea. The traveler sat down. The wood felt smooth and warm, as though countless dreamers had rested there before him. He watched the waves, one after another, slowly arriving, slowly departing. The rhythm never changed, never rushed, never slowed. Steady, gentle, endless. The traveler felt his breathing naturally match the movement of the ocean. In and out. In and out. Each breath carried away a little more tension, a little more worry, a little more fatigue, until eventually he felt lighter than he had in years. The ocean seemed to understand something important, something simple, something often forgotten, that peace does not need to be chased. It does not need to be earned. Sometimes peace is already present, waiting quietly, like a wave reaching the shore. The traveler smiled softly. The realization filled him with warmth. For a long time, he remained seated beside the sea, watching, listening, being. Eventually, he noticed something moving far across the water. A small boat, white sails glowing beneath the moonlight. The boat drifted silently across the ocean. No crew, no sound, only peaceful movement. It floated gracefully toward the horizon until it became a tiny silver shape beneath the stars, then disappeared completely. The traveler watched the empty horizon, feeling no sadness, only calm, only wonder. The night continued. The waves continued. The stars continued shining above. Everything felt timeless, as though this peaceful beach had existed forever and always would. Eventually, a familiar golden light appeared beside him. The traveler turned. The librarian stood quietly upon the sand, holding his lantern, smiling gently. "It is beautiful," said the traveler. The librarian nodded. "Every peaceful memory leaves an echo." They both looked toward the ocean. The Book of Quiet Oceans contains thousands of them. The traveler listened to the waves. Their gentle rhythm seemed even softer now, almost like a lullaby. The librarian raised his lantern slightly. The golden light shimmered across the beach. "Would you like to continue the journey?" The traveler smiled. "Yes." The librarian nodded. "Then there is another place you must see." The sea breeze drifted softly through the night. The lighthouse continued shining in the distance, and slowly, the moonlit beach began to fade. The waves became softer, the stars became brighter, the silver horizon dissolved into light, until once again, the traveler found himself standing inside the floating library of Somnoria. The blue book rested quietly upon the pedestal, closed once more, waiting patiently for another reader. The traveler looked at the librarian. Wonder filled his eyes. The librarian smiled. "There are many more stories to discover." He turned toward another distant doorway, a doorway glowing with soft silver light. Beyond it waited another remarkable place, a place filled with silver flowers, moonlit pathways, and thousands of floating fireflies. The librarian's voice became almost a whisper. "The moon garden awaits." The traveler stood quietly beside the pedestal. The Book of Quiet Oceans rested peacefully before him. Its blue cover shimmered softly beneath the lantern light. For several moments, neither he nor the librarian spoke. The memory of the moonlit beach still lingered within him. The gentle waves, the silver water, the endless stars. Everything had felt so peaceful, so real. The librarian smiled. "You are beginning to understand." The traveler looked at him. "Understand what?" The old librarian gently lifted his lantern. Its warm, golden light danced across the walls. "That peace can be found in many places." The traveler nodded slowly. The librarian turned toward a distant doorway glowing with silver light. "Come. There is another memory waiting for you." Together they began walking once more. Their footsteps echoed softly through the endless halls of Somnoria. The corridor ahead seemed different from the others. Silver vines climbed the walls. Tiny flowers glowed softly between the stones. A faint fragrance drifted through the air, sweet and calming, almost like jasmine carried on a summer breeze. As they walked farther, the fragrance grew stronger. The silver light became brighter, and eventually they arrived at a pair of beautiful white doors. Moon symbols were carved into the wood. Silver flowers surrounded the edges. The librarian placed his hand upon one of the doors. Immediately it opened, slowly, silently, and beyond it, the traveler saw a place unlike anything he had ever imagined. A vast garden stretched endlessly beneath the night sky. Silver flowers covered rolling hills, thousands of them, perhaps millions. Every flower glowed softly beneath the moonlight. Their petals shimmered like tiny stars. Gentle pathways wound through the garden. Small streams reflected the sky above, and floating everywhere were countless fireflies, golden, silver, blue, drifting peacefully through the air. The traveler stepped forward. A cool breeze greeted him, carrying the sweet fragrance of flowers. The garden felt alive, yet completely still, peaceful, like a dream that never wished to end. The moon hung overhead, larger than he had ever seen it before. Its silver glow bathed the entire landscape in soft light. Every flower sparkled, every stream shimmered, every pathway seemed to invite quiet exploration. The traveler began walking, slowly. There was no destination, no goal, only the joy of wandering. His feet followed one of the winding paths. The soft grass brushed gently against his boots. Fireflies drifted lazily around him. Some floated so close that their tiny lights reflected in his eyes. The traveler smiled. He had never seen a place so calm. The farther he walked, the quieter his thoughts became. Soon there were no thoughts at all. Only awareness, only presence, only the simple beauty surrounding him. A small stream crossed the path ahead. Moonlight danced across the water. The traveler knelt beside it. The water moved gently over smooth white stones. Its sound was soft, almost musical, like a distant lullaby. He listened and felt another layer of tension leave his body, as though the stream itself carried away worry, carried away stress, carried away everything that no longer needed to remain. The traveler stood once again and continued deeper into the garden. The flowers around him seemed endless. Some were shaped like stars. Others resembled tiny moons. A few glowed with faint golden light. Yet all of them radiated the same feeling: peace, comfort, rest. Eventually, he reached a quiet hill. At its summit stood a simple wooden bench. The traveler climbed slowly toward it. When he reached the top, he sat down and gazed across the moon garden. The view was breathtaking. Silver fields stretched toward the horizon. Streams wound through the landscape like ribbons of light. Fireflies drifted everywhere, and above it all, the moon watched peacefully from the heavens. For a long time he remained there, simply looking, simply breathing, simply being. There was no urgency, no pressure, only stillness, only calm. The traveler felt as though he could sit upon that hill forever, watching the flowers sway gently beneath the stars. Then something caught his attention, a single flower growing beside the bench. Unlike the others, it glowed with a soft, golden light. The traveler leaned closer. The flower seemed almost familiar, as though he had seen it before. Somewhere long ago, perhaps in childhood, perhaps in a forgotten dream. The memory remained just beyond reach, yet the feeling stayed. Warm, comforting, safe. He smiled softly. Sometimes memories did not need to be fully remembered. Sometimes it was enough to feel them, to know they existed. The breeze moved gently through the garden. The flowers swayed. The fireflies drifted. And somewhere nearby, the traveler heard the familiar footsteps of the librarian. The old man approached quietly, his lantern glowing warmly in the darkness. "You found the golden blossom," he said softly. The traveler looked up. "It feels familiar." The librarian nodded. "It often does." "What is it?" The old man smiled. "It grows from peaceful memories." The traveler looked at the flower again. Its golden petals shimmered beneath the moonlight. "Everyone who visits the moon garden sees something different." The librarian sat beside him. "For some, it reminds them of childhood. For others, it reminds them of home." The traveler watched the flower sway gently. "And for me?" The librarian smiled warmly. "For you, it reminds you that peace has always been closer than you thought." The traveler remained silent, listening to those words, feeling their truth. The moon continued shining overhead. The garden remained calm. The fireflies drifted like tiny stars through the night. And somewhere, deep within his heart, the traveler felt something he had not felt for many years. Contentment. Pure contentment. As though the long journey he had taken across mountains and forests had already begun rewarding him. The librarian slowly stood and offered his hand. "There is one final place I wish to show you." The traveler rose, curious once again. Together they began walking back toward the glowing doorway. The moon garden faded behind them, its silver flowers swaying gently beneath the stars, its fireflies drifting endlessly through the night. And somewhere beyond the next corridor, beyond the next chamber, awaited a place filled with forgotten dreams, a place few travelers had ever seen, a place where sleeping memories quietly rested. The traveler and the librarian walked quietly through the moonlit halls of Somnoria. Behind them, the moon garden slowly faded from view, its silver flowers, its drifting fireflies, its peaceful hills, all became distant memories. Yet their calm beauty remained within the traveler's heart. The corridor ahead seemed different, more silent, more ancient. The floating lanterns glowed softly, their golden light reflected across polished floors. The air felt warm, comforting, almost sacred. The traveler noticed that the shelves around them were changing. The books here appeared older. Some were covered in silver dust. Others shimmered faintly as though they contained hidden starlight. None carried titles, none carried labels. They simply rested quietly, waiting. The traveler felt curious. "What books are these?" The librarian smiled softly. "These are not stories." The traveler looked surprised. "Then what are they?" The old man lifted his lantern. Its warm glow illuminated the nearest shelf. "These are dreams." The traveler stopped walking. "Dreams?" The librarian nodded. "Dreams that people once carried in their hearts. Dreams they loved. Dreams they cherished." The traveler stared at the countless books surrounding them. There were thousands, perhaps millions, each one containing a dream, a hope, a quiet wish. The thought filled him with wonder. Eventually, they reached the end of the corridor. Before them stood a magnificent silver door. Unlike every other door in the library, its surface shimmered gently. Tiny stars moved beneath the silver, as though an entire night sky lived within it. The librarian placed a hand upon the door. Immediately it opened, slowly, silently. And beyond it lay the most beautiful room the traveler had ever seen, the room of forgotten dreams. The chamber was enormous, far larger than the library itself should have allowed. Its ceiling disappeared into darkness, yet countless stars glowed above, like a peaceful universe contained within a single room. Thousands of floating books drifted gently through the air, moving slowly, gracefully, as though carried by invisible currents. Each book emitted a soft glow, blue, silver, gold, white. The room felt alive, yet perfectly still. The traveler stepped forward. His footsteps barely made a sound. Everywhere he looked, dreams floated peacefully around him. Some books glowed brightly, others only faintly. Each carried its own unique light, its own story, its own memory. The traveler reached toward one nearby book. The cover shimmered silver. As his fingers touched it, a vision appeared. A young boy sat beneath a tree reading his favorite book. The scene lasted only a moment, then faded gently away. The traveler smiled. It felt peaceful, comforting. He touched another. This time he saw an elderly woman sitting beside a fireplace, listening to rain against the window, smiling quietly. Again the vision faded, leaving only warmth behind. The traveler looked around in amazement. The librarian stood beside him, watching silently. "These dreams never truly disappear," the librarian said. "They simply wait." The traveler nodded, feeling the truth of those words. As he continued exploring the chamber, he noticed one book floating slightly apart from the others. Its cover glowed with soft golden light, brighter than the rest. The traveler approached slowly. Something about it felt familiar. The closer he came, the stronger the feeling became. Finally, he reached out and touched the cover. At once, another vision appeared, but this one was different. This one belonged to him. He saw himself as a child, lying beneath a summer sky, watching clouds drift across the horizon, dreaming of distant places, imagining adventures, feeling completely safe, completely happy. The traveler watched quietly. A smile appeared upon his face. He had not thought about that memory for many years, yet seeing it again filled him with warmth, not sadness, not regret, only gratitude. The vision faded gently. The golden book floated peacefully before him. The librarian stepped closer. "That dream has always remained with you." The traveler looked at him. "I had forgotten it." The librarian smiled. "Many people do." The traveler gazed around the room, at the stars, at the floating books, at the countless dreams resting peacefully in the darkness. Then he asked a question. "Why does this place exist?" The librarian's eyes reflected the light of 1,000 stars. "To remind travelers." "Remind them of what?" The old man smiled gently. "That peace has never been far away." The traveler remained silent, listening. The librarian continued. "Many people spend their lives searching for happiness, searching for rest, searching for meaning." He raised his lantern. Its golden glow filled the room. "But often the things they seek are already within them." The traveler looked down, thinking quietly. The old librarian was right.
Throughout his journey he had crossed mountains, forests, valleys, rivers, always searching for peace. Yet every place he had visited inside Somnoria had revealed the same truth. Peace was not hidden somewhere far away. It lived in quiet moments, in moonlit gardens, in gentle waves, in beautiful memories, in dreams, and within the heart itself. The realization felt comforting, like finally arriving home after a very long journey. For a long time neither of them spoke. The stars continued shining overhead. The books drifted peacefully through the air. The room remained calm, timeless, still. Eventually the librarian placed a gentle hand upon the traveler's shoulder. "It is time." The traveler nodded. He understood. His journey through Somnoria was ending. Together they walked toward a tall window overlooking the clouds. Outside, the night sky stretched endlessly. The moon shone brilliantly. The clouds drifted slowly beneath the library. Floating lanterns moved lazily through the darkness. Everything appeared exactly as it should be, perfectly peaceful. The traveler settled into a comfortable chair beside the window. Soft cushions surrounded him. Warm moonlight rested across the floor. The librarian smiled kindly. "You may rest now." The traveler closed his eyes. His breathing slowed. The stars shimmered softly beyond the glass. The clouds continued their endless journey across the night sky. And somewhere within the floating library of Somnoria, everything grew wonderfully quiet. The traveler felt completely safe, completely calm, completely at peace. The last thing he heard was the gentle whisper of pages turning somewhere deep within the library. Then even that sound faded away. The moon watched over the clouds. The lanterns drifted peacefully through the night, and the floating library of Somnoria continued its endless journey above the world, waiting patiently for the next traveler, waiting patiently for the next dream. And as the stars shone softly overhead, the traveler drifted into a deep and restful sleep. The end. Sweet dreams, and thank you for visiting Somnoria Tales. Throughout his journey he had crossed mountains, forests, valleys, rivers, always searching for peace. Yet every place he had visited inside Somnoria had revealed the same truth. Peace was not hidden somewhere far away. It lived in quiet moments, in moonlit gardens, in gentle waves, in beautiful memories, in dreams, and within the heart itself. The realization felt comforting, like finally arriving home after a very long journey. For a long time neither of them spoke. The stars continued shining overhead. The books drifted peacefully through the air. The room remained calm, timeless, still. Eventually the librarian placed a gentle hand upon the traveler's shoulder. "It is time." The traveler nodded. He understood. His journey through Somnoria was ending. Together they walked toward a tall window overlooking the clouds. Outside, the night sky stretched endlessly. The moon shone brilliantly. The clouds drifted slowly beneath the library. Floating lanterns moved lazily through the darkness. Everything appeared exactly as it should be, perfectly peaceful. The traveler settled into a comfortable chair beside the window. Soft cushions surrounded him. Warm moonlight rested across the floor. The librarian smiled kindly. "You may rest now." The traveler closed his eyes. His breathing slowed. The stars shimmered softly beyond the glass. The clouds continued their endless journey across the night sky. And somewhere within the floating library of Somnoria, everything grew wonderfully quiet. The traveler felt completely safe, completely calm, completely at peace. The last thing he heard was the gentle whisper of pages turning somewhere deep within the library. Then even that sound faded away. The moon watched over the clouds, the lanterns drifted peacefully through the night, and the floating library of Somnoria continued its endless journey above the world, waiting patiently for the next traveler, waiting patiently for the next dream. And as the stars shone softly overhead, the traveler drifted into a deep and restful sleep. The end. Sweet dreams, and thank you for visiting Somnoria Tales.
The train slows gently as it approaches the station. The rhythm of the wheels becomes softer, slower. Click, clack, click, clack. Outside the window, warm lights glow through the rain. The town appears peaceful, as though it has been resting quietly for generations. The train glides to a stop. Steam rises softly into the cool night air. The conductor opens the door and offers a friendly smile. You step down onto the platform. The rain has almost stopped now. Only a few drops continue to fall from the clouds above. The air feels fresh, clean, comfortable. Ahead, the town stretches beneath a blanket of moonlight. Its streets are nearly empty. Its buildings glow softly beneath old-fashioned lamps. Everything feels calm. Everything feels still. In the distance, the clock tower rises above the rooftops. Its golden face shines against the darkness. The hands point to midnight. The soft sound of bells drifts across the town. Gentle, peaceful, almost dreamlike. You begin walking toward the town square. The wet pavement reflects the warm lights above. Each reflection shimmers like liquid gold. The streets seem to glow beneath your feet. The night feels magical. The kind of night people remember for the rest of their lives. As you walk, you pass a small bakery. A warm light shines through its front window. Inside, fresh bread rests on wooden shelves. The scent drifts softly into the street. Warm bread, cinnamon, vanilla, simple scents, comforting scents. The bakery feels like a memory from childhood, safe and familiar. You continue onward. The town remains quiet. A bicycle leans against a fence. A cat sleeps peacefully beneath a porch light. Curtains move gently behind open windows. Every home seems peaceful. Every home seems filled with warmth. You reach the town square. At its center stands a beautiful fountain. Moonlight reflects across the water. Small ripples dance upon the surface. Around the square, old brick buildings stand proudly. Their windows glow softly. A bookstore, a flower shop, a small cafe. Each one looks as though it belongs in a storybook. The clock tower stands nearby, tall and elegant. Its stone walls glow silver beneath the moonlight. You walk slowly toward it. The bells ring once more, 12 soft chimes, each one drifting across the sleeping town, each one carrying a sense of peace. You pause beneath the tower and look upward. The clock face shines brightly above, golden hands moving steadily forward, ticking quietly through the night. For a moment, it feels as though time itself has slowed, not stopped, just slowed enough for you to truly appreciate the beauty around you, the beauty of a quiet street, the beauty of soft rain, the beauty of a peaceful night. You sit on a bench near the fountain. The cool air brushes gently across your face. The water continues its quiet song. Nearby, flowers sway in the breeze. Their fragrance drifts through the square. Lavender, rose, jasmine. The scents blend together beautifully. Everything feels perfectly balanced, perfectly calm. The world seems far away. All the noise, all the stress, all the worries, gone. Only this peaceful town remains. Only this moment. Only this gentle midnight beneath the clock tower. A faint fog begins to roll through the streets, soft and silver beneath the moonlight. The lamps glow warmly through the mist. The town becomes even more dreamlike, more magical, more peaceful. You close your eyes for a moment, listening. The fountain, the breeze, the distant ticking of the clock, the quiet heartbeat of the sleeping town. Everything feels wonderfully relaxing, wonderfully safe. When you open your eyes again, you notice something familiar. Beyond the town square, near the edge of the street, a warm golden light glows through the mist. The last train to 1987, waiting patiently once again. Its windows shine softly in the darkness. Its steam drifts into the cool night air. The conductor stands beside the door, exactly where you expected him to be, as though he has always been there, waiting, smiling, ready for the next part of the journey. You rise slowly from the bench, taking one final look at the clock tower, one final look at the peaceful square, one final look at the sleeping town. Then you begin walking toward the train. The mist swirls gently around your feet. The lamps fade behind you. The bells grow distant, and ahead, the golden train waits beneath the stars, ready to carry you toward the final chapters of this unforgettable summer night. The golden train waits quietly at the edge of the sleeping town. Its windows glow warmly through the silver mist. Steam rises gently into the cool night air. The conductor tips his hat as you approach. His smile is calm, familiar, almost as though he has known you for a very long time. You step aboard once more. The door closes softly behind you. The train begins moving almost immediately. Slowly, smoothly, peacefully. The town slips away into the darkness. The clock tower grows smaller. The warm lights fade behind the mist. Soon, only the gentle rhythm of the train remains. Click, clack, click, clack. The familiar sound feels comforting now, like the voice of an old friend. You settle into your favorite seat beside the window. The lantern still glows softly on the small table beside you. Its golden light dances gently with the movement of the train. Outside, the world remains quiet. Moonlit fields stretch endlessly across the countryside. Small farms sleep beneath the stars. Windmills stand silently against the horizon. Everything feels calm. Everything feels at peace. You rest your head against the soft seat, listening. The train, the distant wind, the quiet heartbeat of the night. Time drifts by gently, without effort, without urgency, without concern. Then something begins to change. Far ahead beyond the darkness, a faint silver glow appears. At first, it is barely noticeable, just a thin line resting along the horizon. But slowly, very slowly, it grows brighter. The first hint of dawn, the first whisper of morning. The stars begin fading one by one. The sky softens from black to deep blue, then from deep blue to shades of purple. And finally, touches of pink begin appearing above the distant hills. The train continues onward, steady and calm, as though it knows exactly where it is going. Outside, the landscape becomes clearer. Fields of tall grass sway gently in the early morning breeze. Wildflowers cover the countryside. Golden wheat stretches toward the horizon. Everything glows softly beneath the awakening sky. The sight is breathtaking, peaceful, timeless. You watch quietly as the world slowly wakes. A small barn appears beside a field. Its weathered wood glows beneath the first light of dawn. Nearby, a pond reflects the colorful sky above. The water remains perfectly still, like polished glass. A few birds begin singing in the distance. Their songs drift softly through the morning air, gentle, hopeful, comforting. The train passes a line of maple trees. Their leaves shimmer beneath the rising sun. Tiny drops of dew sparkle like diamonds. Everywhere you look, the world feels fresh, new, full of quiet beauty. The sky grows brighter with every passing minute. Pink becomes gold. Gold becomes orange. The horizon begins glowing warmly. And then, the sun appears, slowly rising above the fields. Its golden light spreads across the countryside, touching the grass, touching the trees, touching the rooftops of distant farms. Everything shines. Everything glows. The entire world seems wrapped in warm morning light. You feel a deep sense of peace, a deep sense of gratitude, not for anything specific, just for this moment, just for being here, just for witnessing something so simple and beautiful. The train moves through the golden fields. Its windows reflect the sunrise. Its polished brass shines brightly. The world outside feels endless, open, free. The worries of life seem very far away now, almost impossible to remember. The only thing that matters is the warmth of the sun, the gentle movement of the train, the peaceful rhythm of the journey. You close your eyes for a moment. The sunlight feels warm against your face. The carriage feels safe and comfortable. The wheels continue their soothing song. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound blends perfectly with the morning breeze, with the bird song, with the quiet beauty of dawn. When you open your eyes again, you notice something far ahead, a familiar station, small and peaceful, resting beneath the golden light of morning. Wildflowers grow beside the tracks. An old clock hangs above the platform. You recognize it immediately, the forgotten station, the place where your journey began. The train whistle sounds softly, long, gentle, peaceful. You realize the journey is almost complete, but there is still one final chapter waiting, one final peaceful moment before the dream comes to an end. The train continues toward the station. The sunrise glows around you, and a deep feeling of calm settles comfortably within your heart. The kind of calm that stays with you, the kind of calm that follows you into sleep. The golden train continues its gentle journey through the morning light. Outside the window, the countryside glows beneath the rising sun. Fields of wildflowers sway softly in the breeze. The sky shines with warm shades of gold and pale blue. Everything feels peaceful. Everything feels calm. Ahead, the forgotten station waits quietly. The same station where your journey began. The same wooden platform. The same old clock. The same quiet place resting at the edge of a sleeping world. The train slows gently. Click, clack, click, clack. The rhythm becomes softer, slower, calmer, until finally, the train comes to a stop. For a moment, everything is still. The warm morning sunlight pours through the windows. Dust particles drift lazily through the golden beams. The air feels comfortable, safe, perfect. You remain seated for a few moments, simply breathing, simply enjoying the peace. The journey through 1987 is ending, yet somehow it does not feel sad, because the memories remain, the warm summer streets, the glowing arcade, the drive-in theater beneath the stars, the carnival lights, the moonlit lake, the cozy cabin, the sleeping town beneath the clock tower, the sunrise fields. Every moment remains with you, stored safely inside your heart, like pages in a beautiful storybook. A story you can revisit whenever you need comfort, whenever you need peace, whenever you need rest. The conductor appears beside your seat one final time. His smile is warm, kind, familiar. He reaches into his pocket and removes a small silver ticket, the same ticket you received earlier. Destination, summer, 1987. For a moment he studies it quietly. Then he places it gently into your hand. His voice is calm, soft, almost like a whisper. Keep this. You may need it again someday. You look down at the ticket. Its silver surface glows softly in the morning light. A reminder that peaceful places never truly disappear. They simply wait for us to return. The conductor nods politely, then steps away. You rise slowly from your seat. The train feels quieter now, almost sleepy, as though it too is preparing for rest. You walk down the aisle. The wooden floor creaks softly beneath your feet. The lamps glow warmly above. Everything feels familiar, comfortable, like home. At the door, you pause for one final look. The empty seats, the golden lanterns, the polished wood, the peaceful carriage that carried you across memories and dreams. Then you step onto the platform. The morning air feels fresh, clean, gentle. Birds sing quietly from nearby trees. Wildflowers sway beside the tracks. The station clock ticks softly above. The world feels awake, yet wonderfully calm. You take a few steps along the platform, then turn back toward the train. The conductor stands at the doorway. He tips his hat one final time. The train whistle sounds softly, long, gentle, peaceful. The doors close. Steam rises into the morning air. And slowly, very slowly, the last train to 1987 begins moving once more. The wheels roll quietly along the rails. The golden carriages glide past, one by one, their windows glowing in the sunlight, until eventually, the train disappears into the distance, leaving only silence behind. A beautiful silence, a peaceful silence, the kind of silence that invites rest. You remain standing on the platform, watching the empty tracks, feeling the warmth of the morning sun, feeling the gentle breeze, feeling completely at peace. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to worry about. Only this moment, only this calm, only this quiet feeling of comfort. You take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. The breeze moves softly through the trees. The birds continue their gentle songs. The station clock ticks quietly. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Each sound feels softer than the last. Your body grows heavier, more relaxed. Your mind grows quieter, more peaceful. The world seems to slow, everything becoming softer, everything becoming calmer, as though the morning itself is gently encouraging you to rest. The sunlight feels warm, the breeze feels gentle, the air feels comfortable, safe, protected, peaceful. You think once more of the journey, the summer nights, the glowing lights, the laughter, the moonlit lake, the endless fields of gold. All of it now drifting gently through your memory, like clouds floating across a quiet sky, like pages turning slowly in a beloved book. And now, there is nothing left to do, nothing left to think about, only rest, only peace, only sleep. The station grows quieter, the breeze grows softer, the sounds of the world drift farther away, and as the warmth of the morning surrounds you, you feel your eyelids becoming heavy, your breathing becoming slow, your thoughts becoming still, safe, comfortable, relaxed, peaceful, and somewhere far away, almost impossible to hear. A train whistle echoes gently across the horizon, a reminder that the last train to 1987 will always be there, waiting patiently, ready whenever you wish to return. But for now, the journey is complete, the story is complete, and it is time to rest, time to dream, time to sleep. Good night, and sweet dreams.